I'd like to say thank you for this year of wonderful learning, thanks to the NEA grant that I was given last year to continue my studies in NLP and bring more NLP to my classroom. My name is Deborah Roundy. I'm a special education teacher. I'm also a developmental specialist and the local program coordinator for our Minneco Spuds Special Olympics team. You may ask, what is NLP? Well, NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programs. So what is that? NLP is a study of excellence. The core principle of NLP is that success and failure are not random. At the heart of NLP lies the technology for modeling how people do what they do and then rapidly transferring that knowledge to others. NLP models both failure as well as success. For instance, I just finished a college class on understanding poverty, which was written by an NLP person. They've also modeled failure with dyslexia, poor spelling, reading, poor mathematicians, poor speakers, people who are poor at paying attention. The idea is to find out what they do wrong and help them create a model for success. There are 5 major areas of NLP: training and presenting skills, leadership and management, health, creativity, learning and education. I use all 5 of those areas in my classroom. Because of the grant, I was able to attend NLPU and get probably the best education possible. There were people from all over the world at that class. This year there were about 80 participants, and maybe 4 of them were from the United States. As part of my grant, I wrote a curriculum on neurolinguistics. Included in that curriculum are the Circle of Learning, the Disney Strategy, Psychoneuroimmunology, TOTE, and many more. Here are some pictures of our TOTE. I invite you to sing a song. I created songs for many of these programs. This one goes, create a test, then operate your program. Test your program for success, then redo or exit. I try to involve all of the children in all the learning, and so we use sound, visual, and kinesthetic. This year we've done psychoneuroimmunology. Instead of studying how people get sick, we study how people get well. Neurolinguists have modeled people who are healthy and then made it into a program, psychoneuroimmunology. We learn how to anchor for success. We've done the Disney strategy. How did Walt Disney create? What steps did he do, and how can we model it? And my students could all do it. There's the dreamer state, and the critic state, and then the realist state. We learned about meta-model language patterns, which was where I first became interested in it. I always thought I was a very positive person and very positive in my class. Then we started, at the urging of my coach, to look for how many negative things were going on in the classroom. The kids and I did it together, and we started marking on the board. I was amazed at what was going on. It was time for a change. The first thing we learned was the Circle of Learning. We teach children how to anchor into themselves a state of good learning. The spelling strategy was also a neurolinguistic development. We learned how to spell using visualization. They found that the best spellers visualize, and anyone can be taught to spell, even me. We learned a strategy for learning new names, and we love to use that at Special Olympics. I created a model of my own called the Pentagon of Excellence. It's taken from the Circle of Excellence, but broken down into even smaller steps to help special needs athletes model excellence in Special Olympics. We learn to make choices so that children have more flexibility, which is one thing that many special needs students do not have. We learn to make well-formed outcomes. Particularly are we learning how to make outcomes leading to graduation. One of our outcomes last year was to go to the 2008 World Games Invitational. There are also programs that we can use to help students. For instance, if a student has been exposed to trauma in their lives, we can teach them how to move the trauma so that it's not so hard on their bodies and helps them in their education. This year, we cleaned out at the end of the year. We cleaned out all of the problems and left them out the door before we walked out of the school year so we wouldn't bring them back next year with us. This is me. The first year I dreamed of creating a curriculum. I didn't know how I would do it, but thanks to the NEA grant and the support of the Minidoka County Schools, my dream came true, and that's a picture of that dream. Thanks to the grant, I've had opportunities for learning. I took the master's course of NLP at NLPU. I was able to take 3 times now courses from Patricia Novak, PhD, who has brought psychoneuroimmunology throughout the world, teaching people how to be healthy. I was also able to take psychoneuroimmunology from Sue Bayless, one of the teachers in Europe. I was able to take classes in preventing school shootings by Don Blackerby. I've been able to take classes in the latest of brain research, and also in learning disabilities by Don Blackerby. Some of the results I've had this year is I have created an NLP curriculum, approximately 60 lessons in NLP skills that in our world we might pay thousands of dollars for. I'm able to gift this to my students. I've created many songs to anchor in those skills with my students. I use those skills in my classroom every day. One of the ways we use them is in classroom management. NLP teaches us that every action has a positive intent. If we can find the positive intent for the child's acting out, we can teach them new behaviors so they won't desire to act out anymore. I use it primarily in my life skills curriculum and in my science curriculum. I've also written articles for the school and for other websites. This year I made several presentations. I presented to the Special Olympics Global Messenger Training in Boise and taught athletes the NLP program Pentagon of Excellence, which I developed just for them. I presented at NLPU in Santa Cruz on using NLP techniques in my classroom. I presented Menta model language patterns to the local program coordinators at the Special Olympics State Training this year. I also presented at the IASH conference in San Francisco on using psychoneuroimmunology in the special needs classroom. Some of my future goals include continuing to use NLP in my classroom, developing more curriculum materials, marketing the materials I have created, and teaching a college-level class on NLP for teachers. I'd like to thank the National Education Association for their monetary support in providing a grant to help defray the cost. I'd also like to thank the Minidoka County Education Association for their support, providing substitutes, and just plain providing support so that I can do those things which I feel will better the education and create a life for my special needs, making the world a place where they want to be. Thank you so much, all.